get it going.
Okay, great. All right. When you give me the prompt to start, I'll be happy to start.
Yes, let's get it started.
All right, all right. Hello, hello. So my name is Tosin Adegbite, and I'm excited to have you and host you on today's show. And I have a few questions to throw at you, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I've read your book, and I've seen you as a writer, and I've known, the impact that your book is making across the globe. But tell me, when did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, I didn't actually realize I was going to be a writer until around 2008. But
Hmm,
prior to that, I've always loved to read. I like to read. I actually bagged a degree in philosophy from
okay.
Imo State University, and during my days in school, I read a lot of books. Philosophy as a degree itself requires a lot of reading, so that began to expose me into reading, and I fall in love with reading. Reading become like like call it a hobby or something I do for fun. Like at a point, some of my friends you know, will not call me Kennedy anymore. They call me Bookman.
Hmm,
Because
interesting.
they see me with different kinds of books. They're like, Kennedy, which book are you reading this month? Because I have this thing I do, like I read one new book every month.
That's good.
So it became a thing in school. Like, have you seen Bookman? Everybody like, who is Bookman? Like, everybody like, started calling me Bookman, Bookman everywhere.
Interesting.
so
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
so the
So that's
actual
when you realized.
yes, I actually realized I was going to be a writer exactly 2008. So
Hmm,
that was time I was like people like because each time I talk they're like you always quote philosophers, you always like to quote people, why not write your own book so that people can quote you?
exactly. So you realize that books make impact, and since they're making so much impact on your life, you
Mhm.
want to do the same. Wow.
Exactly.
Amazing. 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 Okay. So, what is your work schedule like when you were writing your book? And are you writing on another project right now? But what is your schedule like? How do you schedule your work and life around your writing?
Yes, I kind of pretty much balance it very well so far because my writing normally uh, comes as an inspiration. I normally sometimes around as early as 5 a.m. I will wake up with an idea, and
Okay.
I will just I have this book I call my idea book. It's like a journal book, but I title it idea book. I've had it for the past 10 years now, and
Mm,
in this idea book I have series and series of ideas or project or books I'm working on. Like these are ideas that came up. Maybe I'm in a dream, or maybe I woke up with an idea just struck on me, and I'll just pick up my pen and grab my idea book and just write it down. So
good idea. Okay.
yeah, so that is how my writing start. Like I don't just wake up and start writing; it just comes by inspiration. Even some of the videos I do, I have a YouTube channel where I put a lot of videos. All those videos I put out there are things that come up as just maybe I'm relaxing under a tree, or I'm just you know I'm waking up in the morning and this idea just come. I turn on my phone and I record myself because I don't want to lose it. you know
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, so it's just something that comes as an inspiration. I think for most people who are like artists, who are
Hmm.
musicians, I think it's similar thing that happens to everybody. It comes in as an inspiration for me.
Interesting. Okay, very, very interesting. So you don't have like a set. You wouldn't say that you have a set time where you write per se. Sounds to me like you just whenever you get inspired,
Exactly.
waking up early in the morning, you're able to kind of you know present your creativity around your schedule.
And
That's good. That's good to know.
that is it. Exactly how it works.
Oh my goodness. I'm just amazed. That's how inspired you get. That's how you get your inspiration, that you sleep and then when you wake up, you are able to, think of a new idea, and that, presents something to write for that day or for that time. Another question that I have for you: what was one of the most surprising things that you learned while you were creating your books? Or a book, so to say, at this time.
Oh yes, one of the biggest things I've come to realize, writing my book, I would say two major things. Number one is that we are not really changed by what happens to us in life. We are actually changed by the lessons like we pick up. Things happen to Mr. A and things happen to Mr. B. Is now how did they both apply it in their life? What did they? How do they want to use that knowledge? You know,
Mm-hmm.
to utilize to change their lives, because I tell people it's not what happens to you, it's how you are able to utilize that to change your life. So I
Absolutely.
realize that our lessons are very powerful, and our stories, we all have unique stories that can
Okay.
change the world. you know Through writing my book, I've seen that stories, like the ability to tell a good story, can really impact people's life. Because
Absolutely.
your story, your experiences is not just meant for you, it's meant for somebody. If maybe somebody in a different state, in a different continent. I mean, with social media right now, you don't know who can read up your stuff or look up what you did, and it just resonate with their life.
Right.
So all these years I've been writing, and my website, my book, and everything, my videos. I've come to realize that our stories, our experiences are very, very vital to not just us, to people who don't even know about.
Mm. And now that's impact. That's impact, and that's so true. I've come to realize the same thing, and thanks for putting it so eloquently about how writing your book has kind of brought out that perception in you, for sure.
Yes.
So let
Yes.
me ask you this concerning your particular book, that's currently available worldwide, being sold.
Oh yes, I've had somebody who bought my book, online, and he emailed me actually. Yes, I've had a negative. Just I've had one. I can remember one that was around October of 2020. Yes, this
Okay.
I just woke up this one morning. I got this email. He said, "I bought your book. I read your book." He said, "Your book is good, but I think you have a lot of quotes. Try to quote more of your own content. You quote a lot of authors in your book." I was like, "How? What? What is this about?" So I didn't take it, to heart. I'm
You didn't
like,
take it to heart. Okay.
yeah, I mean that is his own perspective, because most books I've read. I'm a very addicted reader. So I my ideas, my inspiration, not only come from God, they come from other readers I've read.
You stand on the shoulders of giants. I
Ja-
see. I can see that.
yes, and if you read my book, you will see the likes of Napoleon Hill, Aristotle. You will see the likes of Les Brown, Anthony Robbins, John Masson. You will begin to see people like Frank Tiger. These are philosophers. I've read their books, and they've helped shape my life.
Mm,
So I mentioned them to clarify, to make emphasis on the message I'm trying to pass across.
sure. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I guess it's good to have negative reviews too, because then you see other people's perspective
Perspective.
um, about what you've written and things like that. But yes, I'm glad that that was a call out, and I'm glad that you stood to the principle that you are quoting from a well of knowledge. You're not just quoting individuals to fulfill their purposes, not to fill the space, but to make your topic more relevant to the reader. So interesting facts there. So, how long, I guess, should we say? Um, how long, have you been writing? As you said, you did mention it was 2006 that you got the inspiration. So, is that safe to say that in 2008, after you realized it was a book that was placed in your hand, is that when you started actually formatting the topic, or writing the book? Is that
Yes,
how long you've been writing?
yes, 2 8. Yeah, I would say roughly from 2 8 to now it can be around like 10 years ago. Yeah, yeah, I've been writing for the
Amazing.
past 10 years. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, good. And when did you first start calling yourself a writer?
Oh yeah, since I published my book, I started. I mean, once you've been able to have a published work out all around the world, you can be considered a writer.
So true, so true. And that part is a bit sketchy for some people because they're like, okay, what's they're thinking in their mind? What's the difference between a writer and an author?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that subject?
Yes, I mean, an author is when you've officially like have your own work
Mm,
published and is being accessed all around the world. While a writer is somebody who writes, and maybe you write on on your website, you write on your Facebook page, you write you write articles on like magazines or newspapers, but an author is actually that person who has his own name, his own ISBN number written on his own book, has his
mm,
once you type in his name or his ISBN number or whatever, his books pops up no matter where you are in the world. You can access his book, whether be it an e-copy or an audio copy
okay.
or hard copy of the book. I mean, that is actually when you become an author.
That is a great explanation of that, because of the author, or it's like an official, like somebody who has been officialized,
Oh
and their
yeah.
name is on something quotable. So thank you for that elaborating on the differences between being a writer and then being a published author,
Author,
being an
yeah.
author itself. So for you in particular, while you were writing and completing your process for publishing the book, what are your favorites and the least favorite parts of the whole process of publishing?
Oh yeah. The favorite part of going through the whole process is when you finish the final editing, like you when everything is done, like the most updated editing now is
Oh,
ready.
yes.
You have confirmed it, all your team, because I tell people writing a book is like building a house. Everybody, you have the idea, but you're going to collaborate with the designers. You're going to collaborate with editors, with proofreaders.
Yes.
You're going to collaborate with everybody. All these ideas coming together to make it an actual
An
book.
actual book.
Yeah. So
Yes.
so that final phase when the editor sends you the final manuscript, and you go through it. Everybody goes through it. They say, "Oh, this is good. Now we are moving straight to publishing." That
Yes.
is the best part of the whole process.
Amazing. Yes, it is the best. I can imagine the relief you must have felt.
the
I
relief.
can imagine that
Yes.
finally, my work has been actualized.
Oh yeah.
It's presenting in a physical form. Amazing. Okay, so I can understand that relief for sure. And then, what is your least favorite part of the whole process?
Or the least favorite part is when in your mind you've written, like for me, when I before I moved to the US, I wrote about 7 chapters of my book. Actually, my book is a 12 chapter book. So
Okay.
the first 7 chapters was written before I moved to the US. And in 2016, when I actually wanted to start going into publishing, I've written, I've added another two chapters. So I was in chapter 10 when I got connected to this editor on at the library. I was in the library, and I was studying at the library, and this lady walked in,
Okay.
and we have this eye contact. So that another thing I picked up in life is that God always order your steps to people who are meant to be in your life, people who are
That's
meant
it.
to to take you to that next phase in your life. Because at that point in my life, I was like, how can I? Because I've researched about editors, and I've seen the amount of money it costs. I'm like,
They're charging.
I don't have that money now. I'm still new in the US. I don't even have a job at that point. I don't even have the permits to work in the US. So
Mm.
this lady walked in, the energy, I mean, the way we our eyes connected to each other. She smiled to me, I smiled back. I'm like, why my mind keep prompting me, why don't